They used to call it broken English, but for many, it was survival. Did you know West Africa has its own family of Englishes? These Englishes weren't born in Oxford or Cambridge. They came from ports, plantations, and the pain of separation. Let's get one thing straight. Pidgin is not bad English. It's a bridge language. A simplified form of communication created for trade and survival, often blending English with African languages. Creole? That's what happens when a pidgin becomes stable, gains structure, and becomes a first language. Think of it as pidgin with structure. Pidgin English first emerged during European-African trade along the West African coast. Portuguese, Dutch, and the British, they all left their mark on the language. But it wasn't just the Europeans shaping things. West African traders were quick on their feet. Many already spoke multiple local languages, so when foreigners arrived, they found creative ways to communicate. They didn't just copy European English, they remixed it. They took English words, added local grammar, dropped what wasn't useful, and built something new that worked for them. It was less about speaking correctly and more about being understood. In busy ports like Calabar, Bonny, and Lagos, trade brought people from all over. Different languages, different backgrounds. So they needed a common way to talk. Pidgin became that shared language, simple, flexible, and made to get the deal done. When Britain abolished slavery, it resettled freed Africans in Sierra Leone, many from Jamaica, Nova Scotia, and the Americas. These returnees became known as the Krio people, and they created Krio, a Creole language born from English, African languages, and Caribbean speech patterns. Similar to Sierra Leone's Krio, Liberia's Americo-Liberians developed a distinct Creole identity, though more rooted in American English. The linguistic influence was more subtle, but their parallel history shows how Creole cultures emerged across West Africa. The Crios in Sierra Leone didn't stay put. Many migrated again to Nigeria, Cameroon, and even the Gambia. In Nigeria, they became known as the Saro people. In the Gambia, they became the Aku. Why did they move? To connect with their African roots. Many of them were descendants of the Yoruba and more West African identities. They also moved because of missionary work and trade. The British Empire trusted the Krio people to help run their outposts. The Saro and Aku brought Krio with them, not just as a language, but as a culture. In Nigeria, the Saro mostly settled in Lagos and other southwestern towns, while Nigerian Pidgin developed independently along the coast, and in the Niger Delta, Krio had a noticeable impact on urban language and even early education. But in Cameroon, the influence was deeper. The Saro didn't just pass through, they settled. Especially in Limbe and Buea. There, their Krio merged with existing trade Pidgin to form what we now call Cameroon Pidgin, or Cam Talk. The result? A language that still carries Krio DNA. Here's an example of the shared phrases they share today.
How much the pepper?
Pepper? 20 cents.
So I think I will see what I'm doing. Where you the pepper dear so?
Oh, Bandia, so they sell a ban cheap, just get for sell and cheap. Oh, Bandia, just get for sell and cheap.
When it's smaller.
Well, about buy, I know what's up.
Put my merci.
So for beating you, but give one place.
Oh yes.
Even the intonation and syntax of Cameroon Pidgin can sometimes sound closer to Krio than to Nigerian Pidgin. In the Gambia, a small group of Krio-descended people settled in Banjul. Known as the Aku, they brought Methodist faith, English names, and Krio speech patterns. But unlike in Cameroon, Krio never became a widespread base for a new pidgin here. Local languages like Wolof and Mandinka remained dominant. Still, the Aku played an outsized role in education and administration, mirroring their Saro cousins in Nigeria. But something even more fascinating is happening now. Nigerian Pidgin is creolizing in certain regions. In places like Warri, Port Harcourt, and other parts of the Delta, younger generations are growing up with Pidgin as their first language. It's becoming more structured, more stable, just like Krio once did. To be clear, this isn't happening across all of Nigeria, just in specific regions where Pidgin is deeply embedded in everyday life. And while some linguists debate whether it's a full Creole, what's clear is that Nigerian Pidgin is evolving fast, and for many, it's starting to feel like a mother tongue. A great example of this evolution is the BBC Pidgin service. Launched in 2017, it reflects a growing recognition of Nigerian Pidgin as a legitimate modern language. Looking ahead, the future of Nigerian Pidgin seems bright. More authors are writing in Pidgin, and it's being used in literature and education. Musicians are also embracing Pidgin, creating songs that resonate with the masses. Here's a quick clip from a Nollywood movie.
Ice water. Who are you? Drama queen. If you don't get respect, you supposed get fear. If you don't get fear, you supposed get sense.
I guess sense.
What do that one? What do you want contest? There is a tomato for here. Now CWO meeting. How can I go follow out where men they say you want contest?
A perfect example of how it has evolved, especially in the Niger Delta. This character speaks a style strongly associated with Warri Pidgin, showing just how far the language has come. No longer just for trade or street banter, but now a defining voice in film and pop culture. With its growing presence in media, education, and the arts, Nigerian Pidgin is not just surviving. It's thriving and evolving into a powerful cultural force. And yet, these languages are still looked down upon by elites, ignored in classrooms, and rarely written down. But that stigma is slowly fading. Because let's be honest, they've never been just street talk. They are complex, expressive, and deeply tied to identity. This shows that West African societies have always adapted, resisted, and redefined the rules. Let's break down the difference. Pidgin is a contact language, usually not spoken natively but used between groups to communicate. Creole, on the other hand, is what happens when Pidgin stabilizes and becomes a mother tongue. In places like Sierra Leone and the Niger Delta, we're already seeing a shift, where English-based Creoles or Pidgins are becoming more embedded in daily life. But let's be clear, Sierra Leone's Krio stands apart. It's one of the most developed and standardized Creoles in West Africa, with a growing literary tradition, widespread use as a first language, and deep ties to national identity. Krio has set the benchmark for what an African Creole can be. So next time someone dismisses Pidgin, or Creole as just broken English or street talk. Remember, they are languages built on survival, creativity, and culture. From Krio in Sierra Leone to Cam Talk and Ghanaian Pidgin, these aren't just ways of speaking. They're part of who West Africa is.